Hi, I'm DeDe. I'm glad you're joining me for this session. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll do traditional yoga poses with an emphasis on stretching to create better mobility and flexibility. Here's what you'll need. A yoga mat turned in the same direction that I have mine, unless you're on carpet, and then you might be fine without a yoga mat. You also need a folded towel for some extra padding and some water for hydration. You'll need plenty of room around you so you don't have to navigate around any obstacles. And you'll also need to give yourself permission to only do what feels right for you, to skip something or take one of my modifications if you need to, or just press pause for a moment, grab yourself a drink, and then you can resume. All right, so we're coming down now. You can come down any way you like. I like to show different ways of coming down. Some people find this a good way to come down. Only do it that way if you find it to be helpful. Otherwise, come down any way that works for you. So we'll be on our back. You may need a pillow underneath your head so your neck doesn't feel any pain or strain. If that's for you, then put the pillow where your head's going to go. Make sure only your neck and your head are supported by the pillow, not your shoulders. If you don't need that, then you can just keep your folded towel off to the side for now. And then we'll recline back slowly, gently onto our elbows first, and then all the way down onto our back. So make sure that you're comfortable, your pelvis is right where it should be to make your lower back feel comfortable. And for this breathing moment that we're about to take, we're going to do it with our knees bent today. So separate your feet a little wider than your shoulders, turn your toes inward, and then let your knees lean against one another. Now you shouldn't need to look at me any longer for now, so go ahead and bring your head back to center. And then let's place both of our hands on top of our navel, shoulders away from ears. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. And then we'll breathe in and out, slowly, drawing the inhale down by your navel where the hands are resting first, and then filling all the way up into your throat, exhaling completely through the nose. So just a reminder that this deep breathing at the beginning of our practice helps to set us up in the right way, internally as well as externally. So I don't know what you were doing right before this, but just in case you're not in your perfect mindful space mentally, you're not in your perfect yogic space physically, this will help to get us all onto the same page. So we start out in a really good place at the beginning of our practice. And now if your eyes are closed, let them open. And you can take your hands away from your navel now. Let's bring the feet back together. The knees can come away from one another. So now we're just lying on our back. Let's start to limber through our wrists and our fingers and our thumbs by just doing some random motion. So if you need to take a peek at me anytime, turn your head and take a peek. And then try to bring your head back to neutral in the center. Your neck will be happier if you do it that way. Our hands are some of the hardest working parts of our body, and we don't treat them as such. We sort of ignore them, right? We don't do a lot for them, usually. So right now we're paying attention to them and limbering them. We can develop better flexibility everywhere in our body, including our hands, our wrists, and our forearms. So with that in mind, now let's press the palms together, and we'll press side to side gently, feeling the stretch in your bottom hand, your bottom wrist. All right, and then we'll relax the hands down to the sides. Let's bring one knee into the chest, followed by the other. You can hold on to the backs of your thighs if you like. And then we'll do something similar with our feet, another very hard-working part of our body that we may not pay that much attention to. So wiggling your toes, pointing and flexing your feet, circling around through your ankles. Meanwhile, we're still trying to do that deep breathing that starts down by our navel on the inhale. All right, and then we will take one foot down, followed by the other foot. Now, straighten out your left leg and then take your arms up with your palms facing in. So we'll inhale there, and on the exhale, we'll pull the right knee in toward the chest. Now inhale, both legs straighten, arms go up, and then left leg comes in this time. Exhale, pull from the back of the thigh. And we'll keep going. Maybe your arms can go a little bit further. Maybe you have your elbows bent here, that's fine. And maybe your leg that you're bringing in toward you can straighten a little bit more. Make sure that you maintain control of your arms and legs, and that control starts in our core. So our abdominals, our back muscles. Control your arms and legs from that center of your body. So if you let your leg get a little bit straighter now, then you'll feel more stretch in the back of your thigh. Now let's see if we can lift our head, shoulders, and shoulder blades up each time, and then control the descent. Now something that might happen as you're doing this is your neck might get a little fatigued. So if you start to feel neck fatigue and you don't want to continue on, that's okay. Keep your head and shoulders down. You don't have to lift them. But remember, if you have a body part that's getting tired, it's probably also getting stronger and developing some muscular endurance. So let's do one more of these. All right, and then the head and shoulders come down. One foot is down, the other foot is down. Let's turn ourselves now over onto our side, and then we'll press ourselves up with the hands. Now we're coming to a seated position. And for some, if you sit up on your folded towel, it's actually easier for you to sit up straighter and taller. So make sure that you sit right at the edge of your folded towel if you need to. Otherwise, you can keep it off to the side. So our feet are a little wider than our shoulders. Our fists or our palms or our fingertips are under our shoulders. So let's inhale. And on the exhale, your knees go to one side and your shoulder pulls back. And then we'll inhale, exhale, your knees go to the other side and your other shoulder pulls back. And we'll go back and forth here. Keep your elbows slightly bent. Feel the twist. Feel the wrist stretch as well. We're just moving with our breath. Now we're going to turn the whole body. So inhale, turn everything around as you exhale, all the way around, looking past the end of your mat if you're using a mat. Inhale back to center and exhale over. Now we still have our feet wide apart, and that way our legs don't interfere too much with one another. Turning the head, turning the chest. One more time to each side. So our legs are kind of like windshield wipers here, right? And the last one. Let's turn over into hands and knees next. I like to have some extra padding under my knees. You may want that as well, so that's where you can use your folded towel. So now we'll come to an all fours position where I encourage you to be up on your fists if that feels better. Otherwise, flat down on your palms. Now the wrists are right under the shoulders and the knees are right under the hips. Find neutral with your spine. That means you're not arched, you're not rounded, you're neutral and straight. Now the tailbone lifts up as we inhale and the tailbone drops down as we exhale. So make this happen through the lower third of your spine. Inhale, pelvic tilt, tailbone up. Exhale, pelvic tilt, tailbone down. Let's do a couple more of these without your shoulders lifting up towards your ears. So we're working on a little bit of spinal mobility and limbering through the lower back. Now come back to neutral. Let's work on some more flexibility through our toes. So tuck your toes under. Maybe your toes are cracking like my toes are. So nothing too extreme. Inhale. As you exhale, sit back a little bit, not too far. Feel the additional stretch in your toes. Inhale forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. Exhale back just a few inches. And we'll do two more of these with the toes tucked under. And one more. How do your toes feel? Are they getting a little more limber and flexible? All right, let's come back to our all fours position. Untuck the toes. Now we'll take a big step forward with our hands. So now our wrists are forward of our shoulders. And then we'll inhale and raise one arm up. On the exhale, you might want to watch first. Bend your supporting arm and reach all the way through like you're threading a needle. And then just go in reverse. Inhale, sweep your arm up, join me. And then exhale, your toes are not tucked under. Let's sit back a little further. And then we'll do the other side. So come up, inhale, your other arm goes up. And then exhale, bend your supporting arm and reach through. Go in reverse now. Sitting back. Let's do it again. So we're getting a spinal twist and a shoulder and chest stretch. We're getting another spinal twist and a shoulder stretch. So we're limbering. We're creating a bigger range of motion, more comfort for our joints. One more time. Can you keep your shoulders away from your ears as you come forward? Try to keep them away. All right, now we'll settle back into child's pose. So for you, that might mean you're here. You can also be further back. You can be further back and all the way down with your arms extended. The important thing is that you find a child's pose that works for you, that's comfortable, that feels restful. If none of those options work for you, feel free to lie on your side and rest. You can lie all the way face down if you want to. We're going to do that together in just a moment. And then we're coming back up again in your all fours position, fists or palms. Inhale. As you exhale, press your hips to one side and your shoulders to the opposite side. So we'll go with our breath now. Inhale, center. Exhale, over. So this is called wag the dog, the kneeling version. We're not really getting a side bend here as much as we're trying to stretch through the side of our hip, the side of our shoulder, and through our forearms and wrists a little bit. One more time to each side. All right, now we'll come to center. Inhale, your toes are tucked under. On the exhale, make your knees lighter. Maybe they lift off of the mat or the floor. Inhale, touch them down. Exhale, lift them up. 2 more. So building a little bit of strength, getting a little more flexibility through our toes. One more time, building some heat. All right, and then we'll come all the way down. Now we're coming up on our knees. You can flatten your feet out behind you. Take your leg that's closest to me and step it forward. So we're moving into a kneeling lunge. Lean into it so your hips are a little bit forward of your back knee and your front knee is over your ankle. Let's inhale, sweep the arms forward and up a little bit. And then exhale, bring them down and a little bit behind you. Do that again. So try to keep your hips a little bit forward of your back knee. Make sure you have enough padding under your back knee. All right, and then we'll take the arms down. Keep your balance now. We're stepping both knees underneath us, and then the other foot goes forward. Take more than one step if you need to, and then lean into your kneeling lunge. All right, sweep the arms up. Inhale. This time the elbows bend as you exhale and open your chest. Let's do that again. So it's almost like you're drawing a circle with your arms. One circle on your right side, one circle on your left. So we're working on stretching the front of our body. One of the tighter areas of the front of our body is our hip flexors. And in this kneeling lunge, we're stretching through our hip flexors. All right, now take your hands down. Lift up your back knee and then turn toward me and walk your hands around toward me. You probably won't need your folded towel for a bit, so move it off to the side. Your toes are turned out, your knees are bent, your hands are on your thighs, and then we'll come all the way up. Soften your knees a little bit here, shoulders back and down. Inhale, exhale over into a side bend. Inhale, center. And exhale over. Let's do a couple more of these. So you can keep your top arm bent, or you can straighten it, depending on what feels better for your shoulder. Make it feel right for your shoulder. Last 2. All right, let's turn this way. So now we're in a low lunge. So bring your fingertips or your fists down As usual, we want this front knee right over the ankle. Now we'll inhale here. Keep your hands right where they are. As you exhale, let your front leg straighten a little bit. Don't worry about how much that is. And then we'll bend it again. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Your back leg stays straight the whole time. One more. All right, now we'll stay with our leg as straight as we can make it. Doesn't matter how straight that is, stay right there. Now, if you're able to, see if you can pick up the toes on your front foot, maybe the arch on your front foot. So maybe the only thing that's down is your heel. Maybe that's not working for you at all, in which case you can skip that part. Sink your back heel down. Pull your front toes up if you're doing this variation. All right, and then bring your foot down if it's up. Bend your knee, and let's walk with our hands around to the other side. So make sure you end up in a low lunge that's appropriately placed front foot to back foot. Fists or fingertips or palms or yoga blocks here. Inhale. And exhale out of your low lunge. This is pyramid pose. And then do it again. Bend. Now this time, we keep the leg as straight as we can, and we just hang out here. Option to lift everything except the heel of your front foot, pressing your back heel down a bit more. How does that feel for you? So working on flexibility through our hamstrings, our calf muscles, our hips. All right, if your foot is up now, you can bring it down. Let's walk hand over hand so we're facing one another. Turn your toes out, hands on your thighs, neutral straight spine. And then slowly hinge your way up. Shoulders back and down. Let's bring the feet in closer together. So step them in closer. Now your feet are directly underneath your hip joints. And we're going to do a version of dancer pose that works for you. So I'm going to give you a bunch of different variations. The first one is for you to go over to a wall or a countertop or a sturdy chair and steady yourself by holding on to that with one hand. I'll give you a second to do that. And then we'll take our right leg back. We'll touch the foot down. If we can, we'll bend the knee. If you're still okay here, if you can hold your ankle, that's your next option. And then we bring the knees side by side and we tuck the pelvis forward slightly. Now you may want to flex the ankle of the right foot just so you can have an easy place to grab onto. And then we'll take the left arm out to the side with the thumb up. So there's lots of variations here. I want you to choose the one that works for you. All right, and then we'll switch. So you should have felt some stretch in the front of your thigh and the front of your hip as well. So start in mountain pose and then take your left foot back. Maybe you bend your knee, maybe you don't. Maybe you hold your ankle, maybe you don't. You tuck your pelvis forward and then here's the right arm coming out. Knees are side by side. So we're working on flexibility in this session, but this is also balance training, whether you're holding on to something or not. All right, bring both feet down. One more round on each side. So take your right foot back. I'm going to give you some different variations, so I'll show you from the side this time. Right foot back. Bend your knee or just keep your foot back. Hold your ankle or just bend your knee. This time your arm can come up, your opposite arm, with the elbow bent or straight. And then flexing your foot, if you want to challenge yourself further, sink into your standing leg and push your heel away. So I just gave you a lot of different variations. Find one that's just right for you. Keep breathing. And then we'll ease out of that. And we'll bring the feet down. And we'll go to the other side. So take your left foot back. Maybe your foot comes up, maybe you hold your ankle. Opposite arm comes up. Make sure you're flexing your foot as you hold your ankle, sink into your standing leg, and then maybe you tip forward and push your heel out behind you. Keep a firm brace through your midsection so you're stable. All right, and then we'll tip back up. And then we'll come to mountain pose. Feel free to close your eyes here for just a moment. All right, and then release your arms down, roll your shoulders back. Let's come all the way down. We're going to be in a kneeling position, so I encourage you to come down in any way that works for you. This is another way to come down. And then you may want your extra padding under your knees. We'll do a kneeling calf stretch. So hands and knees, fists are fine too. Tops of the feet resting. Now take one leg back, tuck your toes under, and push your heel back, just until you feel a nice sensation of stretch in your calf on the straight leg side. Holding the rest of your body in neutral, straight spine, shoulders away from ears. All right, let's switch. Feels good to stretch our calf muscles. Also, one of the hardest working parts of our body. All right, and then we'll have a seat. You may want to sit up on your folded towel. You may not need to do that. We're going to move into the 90-90 hip stretch. So that means your front knee is approximately 90 degrees, and so is your back knee, approximately. And then we'll turn toward our front shin, and then we'll lean forward. If that ramps up the stretch in your front hip too much, then don't lean forward as far. This pose is a distant cousin of the pigeon pose. Pigeon pose is quite extreme, and there could be some issues with knee and ankle and hip comfort, so this is a nice alternative. Now, to get to the other side, you can sweep your back leg to the front and your front leg to the back, or you can just do that, and then you're on the other direction. So approximately 90 degrees with both of our knees, and then we'll hinge forward. or not if it feels like too much. Stretching right now some of the most powerful and largest muscles in our body, hip and thigh. All right, and then we'll come to a seated position now where we're facing one another. Again, I want you to sit up on your folded towel if you need to. Just let your knees drop. Move your feet further forward if that helps you drop your knees. And then we'll take our hands behind us. Turn your fingers backward, not too far away from you, kind of close to you, and then lift your chest up. Make your upper back more narrow so you can expand your chest. All right, and then relax. Roll your shoulders back and down. So how do you feel now? Flexibility work can be achieved no matter where you are in your flexibility journey. So you do flexibility work regularly, you have patience. Regularity and patience are what you need to really develop more flexibility and mobility in your body. Flexibility work is good anytime. Don't skip it. Thanks for joining me. And until next time, be well.